Hey everybody, it's me, Gregg Bossen CPA and president of QuickBooks Made Easy for Nonprofits, coming at you with the quick tip for mid-September 2025. We try and do these a couple of times a month, and this tip specifically has to do with something that I've been kind of avoiding talking about, which is the change to the user interface, the change to the home page. What I'm referring to is it used to be that the home page looked like this, and now the home page looks like this. So it went from here to here. Now, when this first came out a couple of months ago, I told people that you could, and you still can, go up to this gear, and you could switch back to the way that it used to look. So that instead of it looking like this, it'll start looking like this again, but it's temporary, folks. October 1st, at least that's what the latest word is, October 1st, everybody's is going to look like this, and you don't have any choice in the matter. So I wanted to do this. I'm probably going to do this in a couple of tips to kind of, rather than doing the whole thing in one tip. But the point is to kind of get you used to going from this to this, okay? So it's actually not that much different. It just looks different. Going to the old, you see all these charts down here. They have the charts. It's just that the charts, they're down here. So now one thing I really like to do is most of these charts people don't use anyway. And so you see this little eyeball with the little X on it or the little cross. If I click it, it removes it all. So you could do that in the old one, by the way. You could do it as well. I think you click privacy and it removes them all. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this is better. So that's one thing. And the other thing that I wanted to look at, again, I'm probably going to do this in a couple of tips. These things up here, this is new stuff where they're advertisements, things. There's not really a whole lot we can do about that. This is it in the old version, and in the new version, it's called Business Feed, and there's nothing here right now. But anyway, that's that. The couple things though, whenever I teach, I always talk about how if you want to learn how to get around, there's kind of three main places to go. And in the old version, this is how I taught it. I always be like, if you want to add something to a list, if you want to set something up, something that's not really transaction related, for the most part, you go to the gear. And this is where all the stuff is here. And if you want to enter transactions, you go to this plus new here. And this is where you can enter transactions, unless you're going to download them from the bank feed. This is where you enter them manually. And then the third thing you probably want to do is you want to go to reports, and reports are down here. So that's kind of how I would teach. So I'm just going to kind of do the same thing. When I go over here, the gear is still here, and the gear is the same. So that's good. Where you go to add new transactions, it used to be this big button plus new. Now it's a small button that says create. But other than that, once you get in it, it's the same stuff. Invoice, expense, check, that kind of stuff. Go back over here, plus new. Here is invoice, expense, check, bill, same kind of stuff there. So that's the deal. Now, one thing more about the transactions that you want to manually enter. You see this little create transactions right here? This is going to give you a list of the transactions that you do so much that you can just access them right there, okay? So, and if you click show all next to it, it'll give you basically a list of all the transactions that you can do that are in that plus create, and then you can decide which ones you do a lot. So let's say I don't do invoicing, so I'll undo those, but I do record expenses. I add a bank deposit, and let's see, let's just add a couple of other things that I like to do a lot here. Create a check, I'll add that, and then maybe print checks. If I do checks, I'll probably want to print them as well. I'll go ahead and save that, and now we have these, okay? So, so this is the point. You can use this to get to the things you want to do a lot, or you can get to this if there are transactions that you don't do very often, but when you do, there they all are. So here's all your transactions, and the transactions you do a lot you can put here in the Create Actions page, okay? Do they have that in the old one? I don't know if they do. Not necessarily on the home page, it doesn't look like. So anyway, let's go back over here. So what about reports? Well, reports are right over here, okay? So in the old version, we'll go over here. Here's reports right here, standard, custom, management. We go over here. Here's reports here, standard, custom, management, okay? So one more thing I want to cover, and that is bookmarks. So bookmarks is something that I believe was also in the old version as well, bookmarks. And what this does is it allows you to bookmark windows that are not transaction windows, more like report windows, list windows that you go to, but not necessarily transaction windows. So like you can't bookmark where you go to enter a check, okay? But you can bookmark windows that are windows that you go to a lot. So I'm going to click on bookmarks right here. And you see bank transactions, custom reports, standard reports, reconcile, and chart of accounts. These are things I go to often. So let's just say reconcile or chart of accounts. Well, to get to that, go over here and you can click chart of accounts. Here's where you can click reconcile. But because I go to it so often by bookmarking it, I can just click here and go to reconcile and chart of accounts. Okay. So bookmarks is something that you want to screw around with. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click this little pencil here, and it'll give me a list of all kinds of windows that are, none of them are transaction windows, all kinds of windows that are kind of report windows or list windows where you can get to it automatically by just bookmarking it. So let's see, I'm going to bookmark. Let's say I don't really go to the chart of accounts a lot, so I'm not going to bookmark that. But let's say I enter budgets a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and bookmark budgets. Okay. So I can also control the order that they appear. So let's say I'll just move budgets by clicking the little 6 dots here, and I can drag it, and I'll put it under bank transactions, and then I'll click save. Okay. So now bookmarks, here's bank transactions, here's budgets, custom, standard, reconcile. Okay. So my point is that of the 3 things that you typically do, 1, here's where you go to set things up and enter it. 2, here's where you go to create transactions. And 3, here's where you go to do the reports. Basically, we have a shortcut, okay? We have shortcut areas. So if you want to enter transactions and you want the shortcuts, it's right over here in Create Actions. These are where all your transactions are. So rather than going over to the Create, we can just go over here and pick the ones that we want to do, and I already showed you how to add or subtract them by clicking to the Show All and moving them around and putting the little star by them so that they appear. So that's a kind of a shortcut where you go to get to entering transactions manually, and then to get to where you set things up, look at your lists and things like that, you go to the bookmark area right here, okay? Typically you would go over here to get to places, chart of accounts, I've already said this, reconcile, but now you can use the bookmark for it, okay? So the point is that to make things quicker for you, entering transactions, you want to customize this Create Actions area and pick what you do all the time. Then you can just pick on that right from the dashboard. And then to get to the other windows that you like to get to automatically, you can just go to the bookmarks. And one of those is your custom reports. So now there's really only 2 places that I like to go to now. So Create Actions right here or bookmarks, okay? And one of the bookmarks is bank transactions, by the way, and that's where you go to get to your transactions that have been downloaded from the bank, okay? So I'm going to click on dashboard again, and I'll probably have another one of these, maybe even 2 more quick tips. But the takeaway again is this is the new home page, okay? And you want to add the things you do a lot, like transaction stuff over here in the Create Transactions and go there. And then when you want to go to reports or other windows, bookmark them so you can get to them there. So then hopefully you'll just be clicking here and clicking here to get to where you need to go. Okay, so that is my first tip. So play around with it and then watch for another tip in about a week or so, and I'll do a little bit more on the homepage. And on October the 9th, if you would like to understand what a donor needs to have in a donor thank you letter and when you have to send it to them, we've got a webinar on that October the 9th. You can get tickets by clicking right here. You can also, in our website, go to live webinars. It's going to pop up anyway, but here it is right here. Donor thank you letters, complying with IRS requirements, getting them from QBO. I think that's it. I'll talk to you later.